Hello friends, my name is Bhavik Joshi, professor in Civil Engineering Department. Now today we are going to continue in our subject Advanced Construction Technology. Today we are going to study about types of foundation. Now let us see the first type of foundation. First is shallow foundation and the second one will be our deep foundations. Now let us try and understand shallow foundation. What is a shallow foundation? First of all, if we want to construct a building, we need to make a foundation for it. Now, depending upon the soil, we will select which type of foundation we want to construct. Now, if it is a loose soil, then we need to go deep till we get a hard layer on which we can lay our foundation. So, for that we need to construct deep foundation. We will see it later. First of all, we will see shallow foundation. Now, what is shallow foundation? Shallow foundation is a foundation which is constructed on a hard soil. Wherever we get a hard layer, we can construct a shallow foundation on it. We don't need to go to very deep for constructing a foundation. So let us try and understand types of shallow foundation. Now the first type of foundation in shallow foundation is mat foundation. Now we have seen mats at our home. What is a mat? A mat is a continuous material which is found at our home for different purposes. Now if we want to construct a mat foundation, then we need to make a mat of cement concrete or RCC on which we can lay our other layers of foundation and on which we can construct our substructure and superstructure. Now let us see in detail what is a mat foundation. A mat foundation takes full advantage of the surface area where the building will be erected. Now it will cover the full surface area where the building is to be constructed, essentially using the basement as the entire load bearing foundation. It will use the entire basement as a load bearing foundation. Mat foundation are often used when the soil is weak and requires the weight to be transferred. It is used where the soil is weak. As I told you that mat will be constructed. Now why do we need to construct a mat into a foundation? Now in a mat what we are doing is that we are laying a cement concrete or a RCC reinforced cement concrete layer on the entire area. Okay, so why do we need to do that when the soil is very weak and the weight is to be distributed evenly over there. Now mat foundations are also used when a basement is feasible and the pillars or columns are spaced close to each other. Whenever the columns are very close to each other, we need to construct a mat foundation. It is often referred to as raft foundation. We can also call a mat foundation as a raft foundation because the basement foundation is submerged into the soil like the hull of a raft in the water. Now we have seen a raft into a water where the raft is partially submerged into it. Similarly, in raft foundation, we are constructing it as a raft which will be submerged into the soil. Now let us see the figure of raft or mat foundation. Here you can see a figure of it. Mat or raft foundation utilize a partially submerged basement as a shallow foundation for load bearing and water resistance. Now as you can see over here, you can see many columns over here for which a common raft or a mat foundation is constructed. Okay, so this is a figure of a raft or a mat foundation where the load is distributed evenly for all the columns. Okay, now second in shallow foundation is individual footing. One of the most common types of shallow foundation is the individual footing. As the name suggests, here the footings will be constructed individually for all the columns. It might even be what comes to mind when you think of a foundation. Okay, individual or isolated spread footing are typically square, rectangular, or even a geometrical frustum block of concrete that carries the load of a single column or a pier. Now, there are different shapes in which you can construct a individual footing. You can make it as a square if you want to. You can make it as a rectangle or even a geometrical frustum. Okay, but the footing will be constructed for individually for all the columns. Okay, that is the basic requirement. The width of individual footings depend on the weight. Now, we know that in order to carry the load of the column, we need to decide the depth and width of the footing. Now, upon which the width of the footing will be dependent is the weight that is to be carried out and transferred into the soil. The width will depend on that. Okay, now let us see the third one is the combined footing. Now as the name suggests, in combined footing we will combine all the columns and for which we will give a common foundation for. Okay. Now what is a combined footing? Let us see in detail. Okay. A combined footing will carry all the loads of all the columns. As we saw in a raft or mat foundation, it won't carry the load of all the columns, but here suppose there are two columns, it will the foundation will be such that will cover both the columns. A combined footing is very similar to an individual footing, except one base shares the weight of two pillars or columns. Okay, there will be two pillars of or columns whose weight will be carried by this combined footing. We will combine those two columns, means the foundation of those two columns will be combined. Okay, so this is called a combined footing. Okay, now this is a figure of a combined footing, type of foundation or combined footing. As you can see, combined footing consists of two or more columns sharing a single foundation pad with equal weight distribution. As you can see in this figure, there are two columns whose foundations were overlapping. So what we did is we combined the foundation for these two columns so that the weight or the load coming on two columns can be distributed evenly into the ground. Okay, let us see the next one. Now that was the end of shallow foundations. Let us see the next one, that is the deep foundation. Now what are deep foundation? Deep foundations are commonly used for large structures. As we know, they are adopted for larger structures like bridges. Okay, but can be used for homes built on steep cliffs. If there is a steep cliff, then we can use deep foundation for it. Over water, on the beach, or other unique locations. Now wherever the construction is to be done near a water body or over a water body, then we need to provide deep foundations for it. Deep foundations are built exactly where they sound deep into the earth. Now, what is the meaning of deep foundation? Where the soil is soft, so it would be required for us to go deep into the ground, where we can found a hard strata over there, and we can lay our foundations and other substructure and superstructure over there. Okay, so on such places we will construct deep foundations. The main examples of deep foundations where we can construct those deep foundations is that, as I told you, for larger structures like bridges or multi-storied buildings where the soil is very soft. Okay, we sometimes we also need to drive piles for it. Okay, if you want to construct a deep foundation and use caissons for it. Okay, now let us see the next one. Now first we will see the pile foundation in deep foundation. This is a type of a deep foundation which is very important. Then it is the most common type of deep foundation. Okay, now there are two types of it. One will be the friction piles, okay, and other will be the load bearing piles. Now what are the friction piles and load bearing piles? We will see one by one. Both consist of boring large sturdy columns deep into the ground. It would be required for us to bury those columns into the ground, deep into the ground, till we find the hard strata in pile as well as in friction piles. Okay, now let us see, that is in load bearing piles and in friction piles. Now type of pile foundations. Piles are driven deep into the earth to either reach a layer of solid bedrock or use surface area frictions to maintain load bearing structure integrity. Now as you can see over here, what we have done is we have driven those piles deep into the ground till we find a hard strata. As you can see in this figure, there are three piles we can see over here. Now those are submerged into the water and are reaching deep into the ground till the hard strata, and upon which the other layers of construction will be done. Okay, let us see the next one. Okay, now the next one is end bearing piles in this. Sometimes the soil we build on will never bear enough weight of the project. Okay, now sometimes the soil is inefficient to bear the load, being built even with dirt compactors and shallow foundations. Instead, we must bypass the layer of soil, softer layer of soils and get to the substrata of bedrock beneath, which we can find dry stratum to distribute the load. Now, we know that in end bearing piles, what will be the end bearing piles doing over here? The end bearing piles, the end of those piles will reach the hard strata. That is, we will bypass the soft soil and we will make the pile to reach the hard strata, upon which the rest of the construction will be done and upon which the load can be distributed into the hard layer. Okay, end bearing piles are driven as deep into the ground as necessary for the end to make contact with the rock layer within the earth. This allows the load to be passed down to it. Okay, as I told you, the end bearing pile will reach to the hard strata and distribute the load evenly into the hard strata. Okay, let us see the next one. Friction piles. Now, friction piles take a different approach to the content of layer of the soft soil. Instead of boring down to the layer of the rock, the principle behind friction pile is the exchange of forces with the soil surrounding the column. Now, as the name suggests, here we will use the friction forces to distribute the load into the soil. Okay, here the end of the pile won't reach the hard strata. We will use the forces of friction to distribute the load into the soil, that is the friction between the pile and the soil. We will use that force to distribute the load into the soil, taking full advantage of the surface area of the column. The amount of weight a friction pile can sustain is directly proportional to the length. Okay, every pile has a zone of influence and must be spaced consistently to ensure even distribution and absorption of weight. Piles can be made out of wood, concrete or edge-shaped steel. Piles can either be prefabricated and driven into the ground or cast in situ. Okay. Now, in friction piles, as I told you, the friction forces will be used, and these piles are spaced at a distance, equal distance, so that the friction force can be used to distribute the load into the soil using the friction forces. So these are known as friction piles. Okay. Now, next are the caisson foundation. Now, if you want to construct a bridge, suppose, or a pier, or a structure in a water, then we need to construct a caisson over there. It can be a permanent caisson or it can be a temporary as well. Now, caissons can be prefabricated floating into the drilling site and can be placed in a dredging pit. Caissons can be also built on site where a mesh grid of rebar filled with concrete. Now, as I told you, these caissons can be prefabricated, means we can construct them earlier and then install it onto the site wherever the pits, wherever the digging is done or the excavation is done, or we can make a caisson at that place also. Okay, now if you want to construct a bridge, suppose, and we want to make a foundation for it into the soil, deep into the soil, that is the deep foundation, we will use a caisson over there. We will install the caisson, then we will remove the water from it, then we will start the excavation work. And once the foundation is constructed into the excavation, then we will again cover it with the soil, and then we can take out that caisson if it is a temporary caisson, or else we can use a permanent caisson also where the concrete is filled into it, and we can use it as a column. Okay, let us see the next one. See, over here you can see a figure of a caisson, type of foundation or a caisson. Okay, as I told you, it will be doing the same functions over here. As you can see, the bedrock. What is a bedrock? It is the hard layer of the soil beneath. Okay, beneath the top layer. Okay, beneath the softer soil. Okay, now here you can see the caisson is submerged into the water till you get to the bedrock. Okay, so that the loads can be distributed into the bedrock. Oh, okay. So this is an example of a caisson. Now, let us see the types of caisson. Okay, there are 5 types of caisson over here. Now, in modern world, there are many types of caisson, but in our syllabus, as we are covering, there are 5 types of caisson. There are open caissons, pneumatic caissons, monolithic caisson, sump caisson, and box caisson. Okay, let us understand one by one the types of caisson. Okay, now, what will be an open caisson? It will be a box-like structure, and it will be open. Okay, now it will be sunken into the ground and stabilized with weights of ballast and muck tube to remove the excess groundwater. The pressurized chamber allows the work to be done inside. Okay, now it will be sunken into the ground. If we are constructing a bridge, we need to sunk it into the ground, as I explained you in the previous slide. Okay, and with the help of pressurized chambers, we will pressurize the soil and water to get out from it. Okay, and then we will construct our foundation over there. Okay, we have to remove the water na, and also we have to remove the softer soil. So you can use this open caisson. It is a box-like structure. Next, we will understand about pneumatic caisson. What is a pneumatic caisson? It is also a chamber where compressed air or pressurized air is used after installation of the caisson to remove the water from it. Now, in a pneumatic caissons, the working conditions are quite tough for the workers. Okay, we need to maintain the pressure of the compressed air over there, or else they can have serious defects or serious deficiencies in their hearing, eyesight, and also all those sort of things. Also, the compressed air into a pneumatic caisson are maintained at an interval such that they don't have to tackle different situations or difficult situations when they get out, because when they get out of the caisson, the workers will counter certain difficulties in breathing or other things. Okay, so we need to take care of the workers, those are working into the pneumatic caisson, that the pressure difference is maintained into the pneumatic caisson, and when it is reduced in such a way that they don't face difficulties when they get out. Okay, and they don't catch the caisson deficiencies. So pneumatic caisson is very important, and it is a very modern technique to get out the water from a water body wherever we need to construct a foundation. Okay, so open caissons and pneumatic caissons. Now let us take a look at the monolithic caissons, sump caissons, and box caissons. Now, in monolithic caissons, as the name suggests, large single column caissons made of reinforced concrete. Here, the caissons are made single, mono, okay, means single, and they are made up of reinforced concrete. In some caissons with the ability to pump out water from the below, often used by offshore or oil drillers to recirculate contaminated water. Whereas some caissons they are used to recirculate the water, that is the dirty water will be taken out and the new one will be replaced by it. Okay, to pump out the water wherever we need to construct the foundation into a water body, right? Now box caissons, as the name suggests, a hollow concrete box. Here a concrete box will be constructed with bottom and sides are submerged and subsequently filled with concrete. As the name suggests, in box caisson it will be a box like structure and concrete will be filled in it. Okay, it is hollow state, the box is less dense than water and it is at risk of floating out of position, but once filled it will be more permanent. Now first of all, when we submerge the box into the water, it will be hollow, there won't be any concrete, so it will float out of that. But once the concrete is filled into those box, then it won't float out of the water and it will be a permanent structure. It will stay over there. Okay, it won't come out of water, it will stay over there. So this is the example of box caisson. So thank you friends, today we have seen shallow foundations and deep foundations. Next time we will continue with it. Thank you so much.